Okay, let's see who is coming to this live this evening. Okay, anybody still awake for a quick chat on this live? Okay, or is it too late? Let's see if anybody's coming to our live tonight so we can sort of catch up on what has been going on in the world of our royals. Hey, 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 hey. Welcome aboard, guys. Welcome aboard to this edition of YouTube live streaming here on Francis Page Media. Guys, if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you're up to date with what is happening in the world of our British royals. You're all welcome aboard this live stream where we catch up with what has been happening in the world of our British royals. Thank you guys for logging in again today. Before we start, I must congratulate all of you for having made it to Friday. Yes, end of the week. It has been such a very, very hectic week for all of us. And I suppose wherever you are, guys, you will agree with me that the week has been a long week indeed. So here we are, and I thought, let me come on very briefly so we can a bit catch up on what has been going on in the world of our British royals. My name is Francis Page, and I'm here at Francis Page Media, your channel where you log in every day to find out what has been going on in the world of our royals. Wherever you are, okay. Okay, yeah, so Love Island. Oh, it started today, hasn't it? Oh, I completely forgot. Ooh, thank you so much for that update. Maybe for future references, I will sort of run a live stream maybe after Love Island or maybe an hour before Love Island because this is the season I truly get it. I completely forgot all about that. Thank you so much, Ralph, for pointing that out. And yes, for future references, definitely I'm not going to run this live at the same time Love Island is showing. But anyway, I won't make it a long live tonight. It's just a bit of a roundup on what has been going on in the world of our royals, and just as well as that, to check in with you guys to see how you have been over this week and what you are up to this weekend. So it will be brief live stream, and then we probably catch up properly in the weekend, possibly on Sunday. But just to wrap things up, we've had a very busy week for our royals. To start off with, we had Prince Charles together with wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, visiting Notting Hill. Notting Hill is in London where they celebrate those cultural experiences of the different cultures we have here in England. So Notting Hill Carnival is a festival that is done every year, somewhere around August time, again to celebrate those so many cultures we have here. Notting Hill Carnival hadn't been done for quite some time because of the pandemic. I think 2 or 3 years since a carnival was done in Notting Hill, London. So this carnival for this year is going to be the first one since we got faced with this COVID pandemic. So Prince Charles again visited Notting Hill. Notting Hill with a wife Camilla to sort of see what the organizing committee is putting in place for the carnival, which is due in August. So it was great that they took Prince Charles around and showed him lots of cultural outfits and drums, and he got to see a bit of displays that will be up for display when the carnival kicks off. So I think it's a 5 days event in Notting Hill, London. Very, very popular with the Londoners. And we have people traveling from miles and places to come and attend the carnival, and people get to dance all those great cultural dances that we all know about, that are very popular out there in those different ethnic groupings. So Prince Charles and Camilla visited Notting Hill. I think that was on Thursday, to see what the carnival organizers are putting in place for the carnival, which is coming up in August. So again, that is going to be the first time a carnival has been organized since the pandemic started 3 years ago. So again, Prince Charles has been very busy. Yesterday, we saw Clarence House hosting a dinner party for the Battersea dogs. So Battersea Dogs is, of course, a charity that is looking after dogs, and especially rescue dogs, until those dogs and cats get their new owners, and try to make sure that animals are well looked after. As we know, animal welfare here in the UK is such a very, very big thing. So again, this charity, which is the oldest charity in the country, Battersea Dogs, has done a lot of work trying to make sure that these rescue dogs are well looked after, and cats are well looked after until they get their new owners. Yeah, thank you so much, Sakambo Seiko, Sakamoto Seiko. I'm so glad you have found this live. Please text in the box here where you're from, so we can get to again connect more and learn more from each other. But thank you so much for staying up and finding this live today. I truly, truly appreciate your support. So yes, the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, hosted a dog's dinner party at Clarence House. Clarence House is the official home for Prince Charles and, of course, wife Camilla. So there, the Duchess of Cornwall hosted a dinner party for Battersea dogs. So here, of course, the occasion was also attended by representatives from the various dog organizations or charities, but also we had ambassadors for the dog charities, including Amanda Holden. I think we also had Paul O'Grady. Very, very iconic figures when it comes to dog, looking after dogs, and of course making sure that the welfare of animals is well intact. Hi Bonnie, thank you so much for joining in here. And yes, great to see you, Bonnie. I was told Love Island is showing tonight, so hence the low turn up on our live. I didn't know that Love Island was premiering its first series tonight. But yeah, so that's good information for future references. I will try and maybe allocate these live stream times at a later time, maybe before or after Love Island. But for today, I think we are going to have such a quiet live stream, and we hope maybe our friends will again join us when maybe Love Island is finished, or we can again do another live stream over the weekend, possibly Sunday. Okay. But I'm so grateful for the 4 of you who are on this live again. I had scheduled this live to take place, so I will just run through it, and I won't hold you guys, being a Friday. I know most of you need to have your time in bed quite early so you can catch up with the rest of the weekend. Yes, so I was talking about the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla. Now, Camilla is the patron for the Battersea Dogs charity. So, Battersea Dogs charity, as I say to you, is a massive. Yeah, same here, same here. But you know, I don't know. People find it interesting. I don't know why, but yes, some funny characters in there, I suppose. Yes, so the Duchess of Cornwall is, of course, Camilla is the patron for the Battersea Dogs charity. Now, this dogs charity has been there for ages. I think it started in the early 60s or 80s, early 70s, 60s, and it has been there since. And we know that it is one of the biggest in the country and the oldest, yes, and it has rescued so many dogs, making sure that dogs find new homes, better places to be housed and fed, and until their rightful owners come and rescue those dogs. So it was great to see Duchess Camilla holding that party for the organization committee that runs the Battersea Dogs, but also to try and see what else they can put in place to make sure that they better manage the organization as a whole. But Camilla has really stepped up in recent times, of course, as the next to become the Queen Consort. She has really, really stepped up her game, wearing very smartly, diligently, turning up for these duties. And of course, we know her hairstyle, which is a little bit similar to that of Queen Elizabeth. Maybe will always remind us of Queen Elizabeth when she finally takes that seat somewhere. But we know that Camilla, who is going to be the next Queen Consort, is already preparing herself to take on these duties profoundly. So well done to the Duchess of Cornwall for your showing up recently, and indeed for supporting your husband, Prince Charles, in his ambitions to carry on doing the great work he is doing as he comes closer to uh, to sitting on that throne. Of course, we know he's been waiting for nearly 73 years. Yeah, so guys, it's been busy. As you can see, our royals are ever busy. So Prince William and Catherine, of course, are away with family on that short summer break. So we haven't heard or seen any much of them, and we haven't even seen any photographs surface of them on holiday. So I suppose this is their most quiet time, and they really, really need it, especially when over the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, their kids became the center of attraction, especially Prince Louis, with how he turned up for most of these events. So the Duchess of Cambridge said enough is enough with kids being in the spotlight for doing those things that children do. So on this occasion, for this summer break away to wherever they are, they decided that this trip is going to be entirely quiet. Hi, Fiona. Yeah, it's okay to see you, Fiona. Thank you so much. I thought you were watching Love Island, as most are doing right now, hence the quiet room we're having. So again, give us a shout if you love Love Island, or if we should let you go and catch up with it, or you're here with us, Fiona. But I think you missed a few live streams recently, Fiona. So it's glad that you've managed to catch up with this one here today. Yes, so Prince William and wife Catherine are away on holiday, as we all know. So for the Cambridges, it's rest time. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I thought so, Fiona. I really thought so. Bonnie doesn't do Love Island as well, so she is also here with us. But yes, we've got this house running, guys. We really are. I'm so proud of all of you there for your support and for always sticking around for us to make sure our messages get pumped up. Okay, so yes, so that brings us to Queen Elizabeth, who has surprised us again. Queen Elizabeth has showed up today looking glorious as ever, and she caught people in Maidenhead by surprise. Okay. Uh, Hello, Fiona. Okay, yes. And so Queen Elizabeth surfaced today again, and she visited a hospice in Maidenhead. Now, Maidenhead is not far away from Windsor, one of these glorious areas to live in London. Very expensive, very, very expensive. So when I was in the army, 2007, 2008, 9 time, coming up to around 2014, I used to live in Windsor, but Maidenhead would have been the next small town from Windsor. So it's just a stone throw from Windsor Castle. So that distance would have been very, very doable for Queen Elizabeth, and I suppose that's why she turned up for the opening of these new facilities of the Thames Hospice in Maidenhead. So this hospice is doing a lot of great work for people suffering with all sorts of illnesses, mainly cancer. Okay. Yes, I do. I do actually. Thank you for asking. I do. And I think that's why when I come to do live streams like this, they remind me of those days when I was in the army. And of course, when I talk about these things the way I'm doing, again, those are all memories. And this channel, Francis Page Media, was started mainly with that inspiration in mind. It was started as a way for me to still share my passion through this channel by keeping up to date with what our royals are doing, but also by continuing to praise or share these messages around the royal family so that people can get to know what the royals are doing for our local communities. Because I remember when I was still in the army, I used to travel almost everywhere with these royals for security, to provide security, but also mostly on these ceremonial duties. As we know, you guys, that every year there are tons of ceremonial events that take place in and outside of London. Okay, Remembrance Sunday, we've got St. Patrick's Day, we've got Queen Elizabeth's birthday parade, we have the state opening of Parliament event, and all these events are spearheaded by royals. So as a member of the British Armed Forces, I was always right in the heart of taking part in these events as a way of honoring whoever royal was officiating over those events. So I did quite a lot of guards of honors during my service in the army. Of course, in addition to the tours of Afghanistan that we and our comrades did back in the days. Okay, but yes, Fiona, thank you so much for that question. I do miss the army, and of course, just like any other person would miss a job they really used to like. And the reason I left the army, I think many people always ask me, is the department I was in had those really, really challenging roles that as you grow, you start falling back in terms of fitness, injuries and all that stuff. So leaving the army or signing off would allow you to kind of rehabilitate your body, get any support available so that you can again have another life outside, before maybe you get into more, before you get into more stress. And of course we know so many soldiers suffering from PSTD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And yes, so I thought signing off early enough before all those issues engulfed me would enable me to start a life outside. And of course I wanted to go back to university and study. So when I left the army, that gave me the opportunity to go and study, get the degrees I have, again to be able to build a life outside of the army, and again still be able to do the things I'm doing right now. Okay? But yes, such a wonderful institution to work for, and the benefits and the support in place for those who are serving is there for those who seek that support. I know that so many of the ex-soldiers that were with me are still suffering in one way or the other with mental health illnesses and all that, but simply because these people did not seek help. But help is there for those who seek it, and there is always support. Yes, yes, they were. They were indeed, because I remember my commanding officer trying to entice me to stay, by promising me to go on promotional courses and all that stuff. But when you get to that point when you think you've pushed your body well enough that you can't push it any further, especially with those roles we were doing. Okay, guard duties are one of the most challenging of roles within the army. So when you serve up to a certain point, your body starts asking you to take that step back. And I think I left at the right time. Okay. But thank you so much for asking, Fiona. And we can sit here and talk about my days in the army until we break. But maybe let us leave it at that for now. So Queen Elizabeth today. Fiona, did you see Queen Elizabeth looking amazing today? Bonnie, did you see her? She looked awesome in Maidenhead. So for this hospice that she was visiting, it has been there for a long time, this hospice. I think she opened, yes, she opened the first facilities for this particular hospice in 1987. Now that's a long time ago. And when she opened those facilities, since then, so many royals have been visiting those facilities. I'm talking about the Thames hospices. But until recently, the hospice started opening up branches around Windsor area and Maidenhead now because of the demand and because of the increase in people with illnesses. So they've now opened up the new facility in Maidenhead, and that is one Queen Elizabeth was officiating today. So the hospice has hundreds of elderly and people who are ill that it's looking after. And good enough, all these services are free for these people. People don't have to pay to have their beloved ones looked after in this hospice. Okay. Very happy, Bonnie. Yeah. Definitely, she looked very, very happy, smiley, very strong. And remember, guys, I told you a few weeks back when I did my live here, and I said to you that Queen Elizabeth has got a new haircut. And that haircut was to usher in a new Queen Elizabeth who was going to start showing up for engagements. And this has proved that case. So Queen Elizabeth is now flying. She's back. There is no stopping this woman, guys. No stopping Queen Elizabeth. She's still going. Just when royalists were very worried about her health, is when she's actually even showing up more to say, hey, listen, I'm here, very strong. Okay, very, very adorable woman. I don't think we shall ever find a woman leader as strong as Queen Elizabeth. You will agree with me, guys, that the older she gets, the stronger she becomes, the more pretty she gets, and the more wiser she gets. Okay, and those organizations that are being that are hosting Queen Elizabeth these days are one of the luckiest organizations, because she's living in days or at a time where now she is very picky with where she goes. Okay, extremely picky with where she goes. And of course, we know that her timetable was scaled back hugely. Okay, so her events that she will be attending, maybe for the rest of this year, were halved down. Okay, because they want to allow her more time to rest. So those areas that she's going to be showing up in those few upcoming events are extremely lucky to witness this great leader in Queen Elizabeth in full glory and present on site. We know that she's been working behind the scenes with video conferencing. Okay, and then the other day she was officiating over the George Cross, handling over George Cross to NHS staff. Of course, that was done in her, in her comfort zone in Windsor Castle. But today's event involved Queen Elizabeth traveling off-site to Maidenhead. So very, very lucky of those that saw her today, especially in these days that she is living in. Okay, we call them the most glorious days. Okay. Essence more of her, if that makes sense. Yes. More. And she's smiling even more these days. Okay. She has shattered all those fears that we had over her health situation. And seeing her today, of course, restored a lot of hope for royalists, because we thought, right, less of Queen Elizabeth these days. Where are we heading? And then she shows up, and then our full hope comes back again. She loves to keep us guessing. Aren't we so proud to have this glorious woman? Okay. So, yeah, she was in Maidenhead today. And of course, she was escorted, or say she came along with her daughter, Princess Anne, to this occasion. And we know that Princess Anne is also doing a lot of great work behind the scenes, organizing these events. And she couldn't have picked the right person to come with for that event than she did with Princess Royal Anne, because we know how dedicated she is. We know how very, very supportive of her mother she is, Princess Anne. Okay, and of course, she lives very, very close to Windsor as well, and so that would have been a very ideal choice of Queen Elizabeth to invite Princess Royal Anne to come along with her to do the visits at the Thames hospices today in Maidenhead. Very, very lovely scenes people witnessed. And of course today, apparently Maidenhead has been the most Googled town on internet today. Where Queen Elizabeth goes will always be the most Googled phrase or term or place. Okay. During the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, St. Paul's Cathedral emerged as the most Googled cathedral in the world, simply because the Thanksgiving service was going to take place there, and many people thought Queen Elizabeth was going to show up at that event. Okay, so today Maidenhead, just Maidenhead, if you put Maidenhead in the search engine, at least something to do with Queen Elizabeth in that area will pop up. That's how great, that's how mighty Queen Elizabeth is. So if Queen Elizabeth came to our village today, for example, this area would be the most Googled place on the internet, okay? Fiona, if Queen Elizabeth came over to where you live, Newcastle would emerge as the most Googled area. Okay, Bonnie, I suppose you live in London as well. Okay, so all these places will show up. But yes, only because Queen Elizabeth the Great is the most loved person in the world. So obviously, you're always going to get people wondering, what is she doing there? How great is that place she has visited? How did she look like? And today we weren't disappointed. But have we ever been disappointed by Queen Elizabeth? I doubt if we have. Okay. We've got so many little creepers in the house today because it's been really warm outside. Yeah. East Anglia, okay, East Anglia, the Midlands. Okay, so you live in the Midlands. Bonnie, oh, Midlands, that closer to Birmingham area? Bonnie, Birmingham? No, not Birmingham. What area? What other areas are in East Anglia? Birmingham, Coventry area? Derby, Nottingham, Warwickshire? Okay, yeah. Very, very, very good places to stay, isn't it? I think going to London from the Midlands is also not a long journey, isn't it? About an hour and a half on the train or something. I'll tell you, I'll keep you up to date if I find out what dates Royals are coming up to the Midlands, Bonnie. Oh, Northamptonshire. Okay, Northampton. Okay, not far away from London, then Northampton. It's a very expensive place to live, though, isn't it, Northampton? And I think there are so many people commuting from London every day to Northampton because they maybe moved to the outskirts and they work down in London, you know, which is a smart move, okay? So, wow, great to know, Bonnie, that you live in Northamptonshire. Very, very popular place to live. And of course, I visited Northampton University a few weeks ago. And I suppose that is somewhere not far away from you, Bonnie. Buckinghamshire, yes, very, very expensive. Very, very expensive, Northamptonshire. You've got Amazon, and which other? I think there is an Amazon in Northampton. They've got a base there. It's also more of industrial. Is it industrial? You've got so many retail parks in Northamptonshire. Because I think I see them when I drive down the motorway going down to London sometimes. But great to see that you don't live so far away, Bonnie. Fiona lives up in the northeast, Newcastle, very, very far. Yes, Northampton University, one of those very popular university around that area. And of course, they are really good in sports, Northampton University. They do a lot of rugby, rowing, and all those sports events. Great. Yes, so Queen Elizabeth, yes, so Queen Elizabeth today was incredible. So across the pond, guys, of course, we will always be having again a brief conversation on how the Harrys and Meghans are doing. Tune Black and White Army. Fiona, by the way, how is your voice? Because I understand your voice was still a little bit fragile. I hope it's getting better and that work has been well. I haven't checked in much with you recently, of course, because it's been really, really busy. I've not been on LinkedIn for the 2 days. I think you've noticed, Fiona, because I quite post a lot on LinkedIn. It's now 22 months, still the same. Hope you're doing something to get that voice back, Fiona. Otherwise, if you're not, we don't want to end up with a Fiona without a voice forever. Please do something so that you get your voice back. Okay. So across the pond, guys, we also heard something briefly about the Megans and Harrys, and we heard that Meghan got a new name. She's now called the Queen of Montecito, okay, Duchess of Montecito. So the Californians scraped off Meghan's title, which we all know as the Duchess of Sussex. For them, they said, no, we don't know her as the Duchess of Sussex. She's the Duchess of Montecito. Montecito, whatever how they pronounce it. And I found that really funny. And so apparently she calls restaurants and pubs and all those places when she's due to visit, and she tells them to serve her the best spot in the pub or in the bar. And recently, again, she has started visiting some of these other pubs that have been recommended to her by Oprah Winfrey, because I think they mended their relationship with Oprah after they did that recent visit we all heard about. So I think they are now in good terms. You know, and with also intentions to do a second interview. Oh, I don't know what is going to be in that interview, but yes, we hear that she is now frequenting, Meghan is now frequenting all those beauty small spots within Montecito and where they live. I think this is because as well she's trying to launch a career in the political world. So of course she has to start from scratch, going to those local communities, local pubs, and trying to sell her name there before she declares her candidature for the Democratic Party in those upcoming US elections. I think 2024, those elections will be. Yes, so for Meghan, it's the right time to start visiting local communities and offering support in any way she can to get herself a name, so that people start knowing what she's all about. And then we also know that Harry is very quiet, extremely quiet these days. Of course, he will be, because Harry is very lonely, probably more lonely than we even think of him. His friends were all here, his family here. He used to talk to his grandmother every day. He used to have those conversations with Catherine, with William. Now his relationship with his dad is no longer there. His relationship with his brother is at rock bottom. Okay, even people she used to chat to back in the days here are distancing themselves, because obviously they are not sure if they keep that conversation or that communication. They are not sure if whatever they say or the conversations they have with Harry are going to be safe. Okay. Yeah, I really hope so as well, because Harry has put his life on the line for Meghan. Okay, leaving behind his first family here and giving up all those things that he loved so much, including his patronages. and some of those patronages were military patronages that he so much loved. So giving that all up for a life in United States with somebody he had met barely a year, surely she must be able to reward him in one way or the other, or look after him, care for him. Okay? But what we see right now is a situation where she is now launching into her career as a politician, leaving Harry as he is there, not even trying hard to see that Harry, okay, first gets those big projects, or Harry gets into something tangible, okay, before she does, because she dragged him from here to the US where he knows nobody, he knows no, he has no contacts. Let's not forget that although Harry had visited United States when he was still a royal, he was only there as a young lad, okay, in his very early 20s, and for a few days, and that was it. Harry didn't know anybody in the United States. Okay. And as we know, Harry did not get that much education. Everything was being done for him here on the plate. All these arrangements, visits, engagements he used to do were planned by the royal family. He had things on the silver plate when he was still here. And now we are having Harry go to United States where he has to work so hard with his little knowledge he has, because we know he didn't go far in education. He is bound to struggle. And yet having a woman, a wife who is well educated, is not helping him that much, but instead making him a laughing stock. Okay? So recently we heard, of course, that now Queen Elizabeth is not going to entertain any of these meetings with Harry and all that stuff because she simply has no time. She simply has no time, Queen Elizabeth, for Harry. And we know that allegedly she said now that even appointments to speak to her from Harry are being put aside to allow for other serious appointments to come through to the Queen. Can you imagine going from one of the most favorites of the Queen, and going from somebody who used to speak to the Queen every day, every minute, every hour you wanted, to being put in a category where, okay, they will speak to you when they think it's the right time. Okay, that's a very big punishment, isn't it, guys? What do you think? Bonnie, are you there? What do you think, Fiona? And should we feel sorry for Harry? Of course, we love Harry as a member of the royal family, okay? We appreciate his family in Meghan, okay? Big punishment. But what we don't agree with is what they are doing against the royals, okay? The projects they signed up with Netflix, some of them having values that do not match with the values of the royal family. We know that Harry is still a royal. Even without being here, he's still looked at as a member of the royal family. Okay? Yes, he's still looked at as a member of the royal family. Therefore, whatever he does there, whether he's still a serving royal or not, should very much still be highly respectful of his background. Okay? But just taking on these interviews, whoever invites them on interviews, they go, start trashing their family like no man's business. A family that made them what they are today. Okay? And Bonnie, as you said there, he's stuck in this rut. I don't know how he's going to come out of this. But it looks like somebody wearing these gumboots and stuck in mud. You can't come out unless you just take your feet out of the gumboots, leave them there, and just walk bare feet through the mud and surface somewhere. But he's stuck. He's in real, real big trouble. I wouldn't envision, or I wouldn't even put myself in his shoes. Okay, and the worst thing they could have done was that interview. Yeah, that interview made things worse. And it's always going to stay on record. It will never be erased. It is always going to be on record. I hear the enthronement from Queen Elizabeth to Prince Charles. I thought whether it was a new official story and participated in the chat. Not quite yet. Queen Elizabeth is still there. Queen Elizabeth is still the queen, and she is still very much going. Okay. She's still very much going. She's still showing up for these engagements. And I think she should hold on for as much as she can. Queen Elizabeth should. And Prince Charles himself actually wants the Queen to still be there, to still be the Queen. Because what we have is a king next, a king, what we have here is Prince Charles, who's going to be next in line, but somebody who still thinks Her Majesty is great and she deserves to be there to hold these times together, especially with the Commonwealth. Most of these countries, like in the Caribbean, we had Bahamas, and we had Belize, Jamaica, I think, also starting to kind of think of pulling away from the Commonwealth umbrella. So having Queen Elizabeth as queen is still very much what is going to hold together this Commonwealth. And that's why we want Queen Elizabeth to hold on for as long as she can, so that these other royals come through, these other royals get to develop more in terms of leadership and in terms of how popular they are with the rest of the world. Okay, so Prince Charles' popularity was at 69 a few years back. It's now starting to come up gradually, which is good. Again, thanks to Queen Elizabeth, who has superimposed Charles more recently by turning up with Prince Charles on events, by assigning him more roles to stand in for the Queen. So that has all helped Prince Charles to get into people's good books, because we know at some point Prince Charles was one of the most hated royals because of that story we know of Camilla, Prince Diana, and all that stuff. And it did not help with these Meghan Harry interviews when they again said Prince Charles wasn't doing much for the Harrys. So that also a little bit tarnished Prince Charles's image, although we know it's not true. But there are some people who take these things seriously. So Meghan, Harry, I don't know where they are heading, but one thing we know is that Prince Harry is in such a difficult situation. And of course, we have started reading stories about bankruptcy in the loop, bankruptcy and all that stuff coming for the Meghans. And I think why people are saying that is because they don't have any projects, any major projects running. Even the few projects they had with Spotify, Netflix, haven't really matured into anything meaningful. The podcasts they had signed to take on have since failed to produce any desirable results ever since that first podcast they did, which was pretty much an introduction. Okay, so it phased off at that introduction stage. So they haven't got any big projects running. Okay, yet they are living in a 1 million mansion in California, a mansion that also has bills running every day that they have to fulfill. Now, how can you pay those bills if you haven't got anything coming in? We know that Prince Charles gave them money. Prince Charles gave Harry a lot of money when he left, although Harry claimed that he didn't receive enough. But records showed that he got a lot of money. Yes. Absolutely, Bonnie. Thank you for pinpointing that. But all the money that Harry received is what they have been living off, paying those bills for the house, part of it paying their security. I think part of it also funded all these other trips he's been making around, you know. Okay. I know, Fiona, if they gave you that money, or if you gave me that money, I would live off that. I would retire. Me, trust me. They are renting, yes, Bonnie, they are. That £1 million pounds mansion is being rented. It's not yet theirs. Okay. Yes, they are renting. But can you imagine running away from here, where they had free accommodation, fully funded, okay, to ending up where they are in that stress? And you can imagine who was that decision maker that made such horrible decisions that Harry listened to, and like a bandwagon off he went. I would retire, honestly, Bonnie, wouldn't you? I would. Me? I would. And Meghan is going to need a lot of money campaigning as the US president. So there is so much pressure right now to start raising that money. Yet I'm not so sure if they will have any donors coming to fund those campaigns for Meghan because of her past history. Because Meghan is such a big risk. Okay, big risk. Harry is such a big risk. Because anytime or any organization that takes up any form of project, picks up a project where these two are involved, is going to come under intense scrutiny. Okay? And let us not forget that their record hasn't been the best in the projects they have managed. Okay? Let's see. Absolutely. Okay. And Oprah, that's a good question, Fiona. Oprah, wouldn't she come in to help? Of course, Oprah knows how her name was tarnished through that first interview. And I guess that is why we saw Meghan and Harry going back again to Oprah recently to kind of have some talks, conversations on how they can move forward away from that first interview. And if there are things that they need to make right through a second interview, I'm quite sure those discussions were centered around that. To find a way of coming up with a second interview, maybe, to put things right. If that interview is going to help someone, I think it will help Oprah Winfrey more than Meghan and Harry. Because I think Oprah wants to clean her name. She wants to, because she knows she's not in people's good books since that interview. And that's why she wrote to all these news agencies and media channels to stop airing that interview. Simply because whatever was in there wasn't true. Okay. So Oprah wasn't at home. We're here from Bonnie here. Okay. But apparently they went in there and stayed in for an hour. They were seen going into Oprah Winfrey's residency, and they stayed in there for an hour. So what they were talking about for that hour, nobody knows. Rebecca, hi. So if they don't live there, Rebecca, where else do they live? Maybe Oprah Winfrey is offering them a spare room somewhere. Yeah. Oh, God. Meghan and Harry are in such a difficult situation. And here is Meghan's family in the UK, which was very supportive, which even up to that point when they went, was willing to still be supportive until that interview came and where those allegations were made and where Prince Charles was attacked as a dad who is not caring, who hasn't looked after his children. Yet he had given Harry a good chunk of money. So that kind of demoralized Prince Charles, and he said to hell, first go out there and vent for yourself. Okay. And now things are really, really difficult for the Sussexes. But also we know that Prince Harry had got a job as the chief impact officer somewhere. We've never heard of that job since he got it. We don't know if he reports, if he does something for that company. We don't know any details of his pay. So we are always going to have these big, big questions around what are they doing? What is next? The projects that they assigned on and were cancelled by Netflix. Okay. And some of the funds they need to pay back that they had maybe been paid, because obviously when you are where you crack a deal with big establishments like Netflix, you expect them to give you a deposit or at least pay off some money before you start those projects. Now, if you don't produce, you are expected to refund that money. But where will they get that money? That is the question as well, another question. Yeah, I love that assessment, Fiona. I love that. Okay. I love that. Okay, so it was, Harry wanted a family, which was okay. He got his family. And when Meghan first arrived, the world really, really welcomed Meghan. People loved Meghan. But you will agree with me right now that all those who hate Meghan right now used to love her. And that dislike has now transferred even to Harry for not seeing that he is being misled into most of these things they are doing. Okay? Chief Impact Officer, absolutely. We don't know what it involves. We don't know. We've never seen a job description. Okay? Rebecca. Rebecca, I like that. Maybe they live in a private jet. That is also costing them a lot of money, okay? And what is also more interesting nowadays is that the Queen would rather see the London mayor than see Harry. Because she made it clear she doesn't have any time for them now. Because the time they had to resolve their issues was ignored and misused. And now the time she has, Queen Elizabeth, is for people who matter most in her life. Okay? It does. It absolutely does. Okay? It absolutely does. But for us as royalists here, we are just going to sit here and watch and see where next they go from here. We know that William and Kate are edging closer to becoming king and queen. Okay? Yet, they don't talk with Harry and Meghan. There are no conversations, there are no talks. When Harry was here for the Platinum Jubilee, they didn't even see eye to eye with his brother William. We know that they were sat in St. Paul's Cathedral for the Thanksgiving service, but Prince William didn't even make any eye contact. Okay, Harry was looking aloof the other side of the cathedral. Okay, William William and Catherine left before the Harrys did, and they headed straight to the Guildhall for that Platinum Jubilee lunch. The Harrys headed back to their Frogmore cottage. So there wasn't any opportunity for these two to meet, but I think Prince William didn't even want that meeting to take place in the first place, because there is nothing that can happen when Meghan is there. Trust me, Prince Harry can never say anything when Meghan is there, because we know how Meghan likes clutching on Harry's hands, and when she's talking, another way of saying, right, I've got this, it's me in charge, keep quiet. Guys, what do you think about these the future of Meghan and Harry? Okay, but anyway, it's nearly 1 hour plus, guys. I've kept you again for long. I said it to you last time. We can sit here and talk all night, because these conversations are always going to be endless. London Bridge is down. It's not yet, Liz. Okay. Thank you anyway for joining in, Liz Hannah. But guys, I really, really appreciate your support. The 4 of you who are on this live right now. Thank you, Fiona, Bonnie, Rebecca Page, Liz Hannah. Where are you from? Thank you, guys. Truly, truly appreciate your support.